Good evening, everybody. This is the Community Development meeting, Community Development Committee meeting of Wednesday, April 17th, 2013. I think first up was the approval of the agenda. Would anyone like to? Jim Morgenstern, seconded. Seconded, Andy Nutty. Any discussion? No? So, ready to call the question? Question being called. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Contrary-minded, no. The agenda, approval of the agenda has been carried. Approval of minutes for March 27th, 2013. Who would like to make a motion? Del Rushi, and second. Dan Sparkman, and any discussion?
This relates to the minutes dealing with the rezoning of the land relative to the CNG facility. I think it's important that the minutes reflect the fact that we made no comment on this table on the merits of the specific facility. It's alluded to in the minutes, but all we did was approve the land use change. And in fact, the concerns that were raised by the public, in large part, were not being addressed at this table. And it's my understanding that we as a committee made no comment on the merits of the specific proposal. We approved the rezoning in such a way that it could accommodate this type of facility as well as a number of other institutional facilities as we discussed. But I'm not sure the minutes appropriately reflect the fact that our action was the approval of the rezoning and not commenting on the merits of the specific proposal, which is my understanding of what we did.
Good point. So would you recommend that sentence be added to the minutes? What would you recommend?
I can try to add one on to the minutes. I think this is the point that I'm making is alluded to at the top of what page? Top of page 4?
Yeah.
Where it says it was noted that the committee is being asked to consider the amendments that would allow the use in the proposed zone, therefore no other MPS policies would need to be considered. Perhaps to just be crystal clear, we might say that no other MPS policies are relevant to the concerns that were raised by the public pertaining to the specific development of a CNG facility as proposed by Acadia University, and consequently the committee made no comments on the merits of that specific facility. That was a mouthful, I'm sure it could be. I'm sure one of my fellow committee members can parse it down, but that's the point that I think needs to be made.
Okay, so any other comments? No? So now we should have another motion on the floor, which is a motion to approve the minutes of March 27th, 2013 as amended. Andy Nettie, and a seconder. Jan Sparkman, okay. Question on the amendment of the minutes. Question being called. All those in favor say aye. Contrary-minded, no. All right, now have a question for approval of the minutes of March 27th, 2015.
Question.
Question being called. All those in favor say aye. And contrary-minded, no. All right, moving on to approval of the minutes of April 3rd, 2013.
I move we adopt the minutes.
All right, Dan Sparkman and seconded. Scott Roberts. All right, discussion. No? Okay, how about, are ready to call the question? Question being called, all those in favor say aye. Contrary-minded, no. All right. Item 4, development agreement proposal, 336 Main Street. Director Morrison, do you have any comments?
Maybe I could just introduce the subject with a brief review of where we are now, Madam Chair, if you like. The committee had dealt with this issue back in November, I believe it was, for the development of 336 Main Street, and council has since that time had 2 of its own meetings where it's been discussed. At the last meeting on February 12th, council was still concerned about certain aspects of the development and sent it back to this committee for further review on 4 specific points. And in the motion of council, the 4 specific points are 1, the facade to render it consistent with the town's architectural development guidelines for downtown. And the developer has submitted a new proposal to respond to that concern. Number 2, the density of mass to ensure it is consistent with the town's bylaws. Again, the new proposal may reflect on that. The use of accommodation for tourism, that's the issue of when it left this committee, there was a 20% allowance for use of the rooms, 20% of the room nights available could be used for tourism as the agreement was drafted. And lastly, the mix of dwelling unit types. That is, council would like to see some variety in the type of units that could accommodate the needs of a broader band of occupants. So as I mentioned, the developer has submitted a new proposal which has been circulated to the committee. The significant change in that is in the architecture. The building has changed considerably. I'll just bring it up on the screen here. So here's some of the renderings of the new building. As you can see, it's the style of it is quite different from the previous building. It's adopted a more traditional look with the window styles, horizontal wood or composite wood clapboard, a much more traditional looking commercial storefront, if you will. The building size has changed somewhat. It is smaller than what it was, although the number of units is still 65 units as proposed. The staff had an architect review this new drawing or the new building design as to how it relates to our architectural guidelines, and that report has also been provided to the committee. I guess I would say in summary, the architect certainly has some criticism of the design from a broad sense, in that it's imitative, as he calls it, of the older styles, and perhaps to his mind that's doesn't produce as good a product as it might. But nonetheless, it has very much tried to follow the architectural guidelines and provide a traditional looking building. The second point that I think we can take home from that report is that he recognizes that there's some difficulty with the building of this size, particularly in the east end of town, where they're finding architectural styles that the architectural guidelines would reflect in the center block of town are not as prevalent or even existing at all in the east end of town. So there is some difficulty in using our guidelines to relate to a building of this size and in this location in the east end of town. I did provide some other comments on the other 3 points in a short report I provided to council and would be, or to the committee, and would certainly be happy to try to speak to those if the committee would like, and the developer is here this evening as well, so if there's questions that perhaps he can answer. And maybe could ask the questions of the developer as well. So with that introduction, I'll turn it back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. If the